Welcome back to Investing and Trading Live. As always, my name is Josh Gilquist with my good friend and my good pal, Mr. Al Connickson. And we are spitting some game about the financial markets, how they work, opportunities as these markets hit all-time highs. And we had a lot of people texting into this free investing class that we do locally at our academy to see what those opportunities are and hopefully take part in this great market move. Because remember, how wealth is created is not by sitting at home and doing nothing. It is about investing in your time, investing in your life, investing in your future, and that's what the market. So come into one of these investing classes and see what these opportunities are all about. Simply just text the word investing to the number 210-210. That's plural, investing to the number 210-210, or go to otamin.com. That's OTAMINN.com. We also love our subscribers to the podcast. Make sure if you're listening to the podcast or miss part of the show, go to Investing and Trading Live on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or Spotify, and check out the show there. We got some good archives there. So we got I think we're on episode 900 and, what was it, Al? 960 now?
It was something like that, right? It was over 900.
And we are going to have
closing in on 1,000.
We are going to have a party when we hit 1,000. So make sure to stay tuned for that. That's Investing and Trading Live, wherever you listen to your podcast. So this is kind of a wrestling theme, Al, as I mentioned at the beginning, where I talked a little bit about Cody Rhodes, and he's actually hopefully going to finish the story for those wrestling watchers. But you know who's back in wrestling now, Al? It's The Rock. The Rock is now part of TKO, which is the holding for WWE and UFC. Mm-hmm. Endeavor is a company, and he is now on the board. And here's what he likes to say. And this actually goes finally. The Rock has come back to Minneapolis. And I'm going to say finally. The markets.
Why do they all talk like that, by the way?
It's entertainment. That's why it's World Wrestling Entertainment. But it's finally, the market has come back to all-time highs. And there is huge opportunities with these markets. So that's what I want to talk about in this segment here. You mentioned earlier it's a trader's market or a stock picker's market. But you need to identify with low risk, high reward, and high probability entry points in the market. You can't just go and buy NVIDIA, as I mentioned in the last segment, where it's at $690-something per share. It's up 43. No, it's up 46% this year. So just this year from a little bit of a low on January 2nd. If I want to go back a little further, from October, this market is up 75%. Will this continue? Possibly. Will it go down? Possibly. But that's why you need a strategy that's designed for any market condition. So it is a stock picker's market, and we're trained and told from everywhere, oh, you can't time the market, you can't go do this, you can't go do that. It's because their job, the people that you're seeing that from and hearing that from, their job is to gain assets under management, which is your money, and putting you in strategies that a lot of times is for their best interest and not yours. So, Al, I want you to talk about how do you identify low risk, high reward, high probability entry points in the markets that's usually at or near a turn in price.
Right.
So how do you do that? Maybe spit some game on that here.
Yeah, well, if you're looking for a high quality trade, which you should, if you're going to be in the market and you want to succeed, our description of a quality trade is one that has the lowest risk entry with the highest profit potential and the highest probability of it working in your favor. I mean, think about it. Isn't that what you would want in every trade or investment that you do? And as Josh mentioned, those quality trades typically happen at turning points in the market, turning points in the price of individual assets or the market in general. So if there was a way of identifying where the turning point was going to happen, wouldn't that be where you would want to have a trade position to take advantage of that?
As my good friend and stepbrothers Will Ferrell said, yup.
Yep, let's double yup on that one. So if you could identify with a high degree of accuracy when the turning points are going to take place, again, as I mentioned, that's where you want to be active. So how can you do that? Well, on a price chart, the big institutions that cause those turning points, and you have to accept the fact that a turning point in something can only really happen when there's a huge order or a huge number of orders that come into or exit the market. So our goal is to find where those huge orders are before they actually hit in their entirety in the market.
What do you mean by huge orders? What does that mean?
It could be billions of dollars in a position. Warren Buffett has done...
So institutions placing a lot of money on a particular stock at an area of price.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And the reason that it's a certain area is because they already have done the research. We don't have to do that research because we're using data that's old. They get things that are timely. They know the CEOs and the CFOs of some of these companies. They can identify things that we may never have the ability to identify. And so they know what the value of something is, and they don't want to pay more than what that value is.
Correct. Think about that. So if you're a person that hasn't been trained on or gets proper data from actual people that are in the markets, and you're reading something, you're basing your decisions off of something that might be super old. Correct. You know, if you're looking at if you're trying to research a stock, that's why you want to use price action or price chart, because that's telling us what's happening.
Yeah, in fact, we want to be in a position before the price action takes place. A lot of people say, well, I'll just look at volume and I'll make my decisions based on volume. If there's an increase in volume, people are buying.
That's buyers and sellers.
Yeah, but if there's an increase in volume, people have already bought, so you've missed out on a good
Correct.
part of the profit.
Late to the party is what they like to call it.
Party. And also this environment, the market environment we're in right now, requires you to be more decisive than ever before. And one of the reasons is because of all the computerized trading systems that will kick in and start to flood the market with orders. Mm-hmm. So you want to make sure that if you are going to take advantage of that movement, you have to be positioned. You can't then go in and manually enter something when you see that activity happen.
Yep.
That's what we teach our students, how to preset a trade based on reading a story in a price chart that shows us where that activity is going to take place. Mm-hmm. People might be, well, how can you do that? Well, come in and we'll show you. Let us show you how that works. It's hard to do this over the air here in a short period of time, but if anybody out there has ever had an X-ray or an MRI, you know that they didn't slide the film over to you and say, here, you figure out what's on this X-ray, because you can't read it. It's sent to a doctor, a radiologist who's gone through training. The same thing is true of a price chart. Everything you need to know is there. Everything you need to know to be positioned to take advantage of those turns in price and the activity by the big institutions. It's there.
Yeah, and I like how you said it's hard for us to explain that over the air. Hopefully that we're entertaining you a little bit, but also enlightening you about what's actually happening in the markets and the opportunities. You mentioned the computer system. Sometimes people say, well, I can't beat the computers. Well, you're not going to. Yeah. That's a good thing, because you don't have to. And that actually gives us an advantage, because what we teach and train is how to identify where those computer systems could be buying and selling. That's supply and demand. And that is the best opportunity for low risk, high reward, high probability entry points is at supply and demand, which is at or near a turn in price. So that's what we show you and kind of dissect in these investing classes that we do locally here at the Academy. These are for traders, a person that wants to be a trader, investors, or a person that wants to be an investor. So simply just text the word investing to the number 210 right now for 2 seats for an investing class to see how supply and demand in the financial markets actually work. And these are classes where we've taught thousands, just like you, our many strategies, which are designed to teach you to make smart investing decisions. Text investing to the number 210 right now for 2 seats for that investing class. And get 2 seats, so that's one for you and one for a friend. So Al, let's talk a little bit about, so we got into, the traders market, the stock pickers, and how you do that is at supply and demand, which is at or near turn in price. So we've kind of painted that picture for our listeners here in this segment. Now, what might somebody want to do with that information? So let's just say somebody understands supply and demand, and they understand high probabilities, low probabilities, and they want an income strategy. Mm-hmm. What do you think are some of the best places to go, or where would you direct somebody that is looking for an income strategy on top of their job, or maybe they're even retired and they want to have an income strategy so they're not drawing down their retirements? What would you direct somebody to do, or maybe just give somebody some insight on?
Well, what I would direct them to do is to go somewhere where you can get the knowledge and build the skills to use the assets that are designed or that are perfect for income. And we always talk about your financial life is really comprised of two components. It's the income component, the asset gathering component, and then also the distribution, the wealth distribution phase. And the way you approach the markets is different for those. If you need additional income, you have to be able to use something that you get into and out of quickly. For some people, that's daily, some maybe weekly, some monthly.
Hold up there a second. I want to clarify that. Quickly doesn't mean you have to be acting quick. Remember, you set these up in advance. Yeah. The computer automatically, you can set your computer up to execute automatically. So make sure we paint that picture properly, Al.
Yeah, by quickly, I mean that you have to be able to use something where you can get a position activated, and then the profit that you get, or the potential profit you can achieve in something less than 10, 20, 30 years, which is what most people are told to do. So you kind of decide how often do you need that extra income. And that's going to be different for different people. So what we do is we customize an education path for everybody based on that. And you're going to use different time frame charts, for example, depending on what your needs are. But there are assets that are perfect for income that can be used in these shorter-term trading environments. Futures is one, the futures market. The foreign exchange market is another. Options market. And we talk about these every week, and we go into more detail in them in the classes. But if you're going to use them, no matter what you trade, no matter what you invest in, you need to know what the characteristics of each asset are, and then also how you use them. When do you use them? How do you use them properly? And actually, it's almost as important as knowing when to do something is knowing when not to do something. I think a lot of people are not doing well in the markets because they're making mistakes that they don't even know they're making.
Correct. So well, they're hoping things work. Or they just go and buy and they say, I hope it makes some money. And that's really why most investors and traders fail or not succeed, because they just hope. And it's a gamble. Yeah. But if you have a strategy, now you're no longer gambling. Now you have a strategy. You can treat this just like a business would.
You should. Absolutely. That's a great way to put it. You should treat it as a business. And if you owned a business, you're going to make decisions that are beneficial for that business. You're not going to put yourself or your business in a precarious position where you could lose the business, where the bottom line isn't going to be to your benefit. So how do you do that? Set this up as a business. Understand that there are, just as with any business, there's a right path for you to get to where you want to go. And that's part of looking at you as an individual and putting together a plan that's specific to you.
Yeah, and just to clarify, you don't have to set it up as a business. Just mentally treat it like you would a business would, like a business. Because I like to say businesses hopefully will make you money. Hobbies will cost you money, and that's what we show in these investing classes. How do you actually make this work into your life with your time, your schedule, your capital? How to be efficient with it? What are the opportunities, especially with markets soaring right now? I mean, the opportunities are here right now. Now is probably the best time to get in these markets, because the market is moving, as some of people out in the media say, bigly. So let's give away some seats to an investing class to see what these opportunities are, how to get started if you're brand new, or you've been investing and trading for 20, 30, 40 years and looking for more consistency. Simply just text the word investing to the number 210 right now, and that's for 2 seats for an investing class right here at the Academy, right here in Bloomington, right off 494. Super easy to find. We do have some other locations as well, so we have classes in Edina, Maple Grove. We've been in Waconia, a great showing in Waconia with a lot of people coming there, Rochester. So simply text the word investing right now to the number 210, or go to otamin.com. That's otaminn.com. When you pick one of these classes, most people we've been seeing, especially lately, have bringing their spouse with. So this is one for you and one for a friend. So Al, on this next segment here, since we've been getting into, we started off with how the market works, the stock pickers market. We identified supply and demand on the markets, how that works, and we got into a little bit of income strategies. I want to talk a little bit more about wealth strategies, 401ks, IRAs, some of the opportunities that we're seeing with markets soaring again, and just beautiful opportunities for our listeners. Text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats for our investing class at the Academy, and follow the podcast, Investing and Trading Live, wherever you listen to podcasts. This is Josh and Al, Investing and Trading Live. We will be right back.